Well, we're only 5 months out, and it may seem like a long time, and you can get things done pretty quickly, but I have a hard time seeing what they could do now to ensure security that they couldn't a couple of weeks ago. The Democratic Party didn't want to have to give up on this, and in fact, they still don't. They still would like this process to be opened up, but things get more complicated with every passing day and week. Campaigns are making plans around this. They know where the voters are. They know that campaigning in a caucus is different than campaigning for virtual caucuses, and all of that is much different than campaigning with a primary, especially when you have New Hampshire, which is poised to go right after Iowa, worried about what the Iowa caucuses look like. We've had pretty explicit threats from New Hampshire that if the Iowa caucuses essentially look like a primary, they could jump the line and go in front of Iowa.
Right, so that really stops Iowa from being able to have any sort of a paper ballot. You can't mail anything in. So, I mean, do you really think that there is some other type of system that could be put into place in the next 5 months? Or do you think this just means that we kind of buy our time for the next 5 months, this one cycle, and then next year potentially risk the first in the nation status?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a real concern in Iowa and New Hampshire, and I think both states are going to eye each other warily around this as we get closer. That if you try to bring in some kind of alternative framework, does it look like a primary, and does that trigger New Hampshire to go instead? There's a lot of complex choreography that goes into putting Iowa in front of New Hampshire that way. That's how campaigns are basing their decisions. So I don't think it's enough now to say, well, maybe they'll figure it out down the road. The campaigns are clamoring for finality on this. They're already upset with the fact that the virtual caucuses appear not likely to happen, and there does not seem to be a good answer in place. Again, the DNC would much rather have had something constructive to say and say, well, fix X, Y, and Z, and you're okay. They have not even offered that kind of feedback. So while the Iowa Democrats are trying to figure something out, I don't know what could pass muster.